Do you want to bust your sales quota? Do you want to join the ranks of top 1% sellers? The Top 1% Sellers podcast gives you the insights and the tools to help you achieve your sales greatness. The podcast features sales and services professionals, leaders, and experts to give you the edge you're looking for. Here's your host, Ash Sadiq.
Welcome, everyone. This is the Top 1% Sellers Academy webinar series. Our second webinar today is with Jeffrey Hayzlett, who is a primetime television host of C-Suite with Jeffrey Hayzlett and also Executive Perspectives on C-Suite TV. He's also a business radio host of All Business with Jeffrey Hayzlett on CBS On-Demand Radio Network, Play It. He's also a global business celebrity, speaker, best-selling author, and chairman of C-Suite Network and home of the world's most powerful network of C-Suite leaders. He is a well-traveled public speaker, the author of 2 best-selling business books, The Mirror Test and Running the Gauntlet. His third book, Think Big, Act Bigger, which was released in September 2015, is the most recent book he has published, and we will actually be talking with Jeffrey about this book in particular. He is one of the most compelling figures in business today. I'm very honored and glad to have you, Jeffrey, on the Top 1% Sellers Academy webinars. Welcome.
Hey, thanks so much for being a part of it. Actually, it's my third bestseller. Think Big, Act Bigger has actually sold more than the first 2 books combined. So it's just been a tremendous success. And we're just right now at the 1-year anniversary of that book. It's hard to believe on my Facebook post, I'm starting to see all these things, memories of the 1 year, and I'm seeing all the launch photos from the book last year. So pretty excited about all the sales and the fact that Think Big, Act Bigger has been such a wonderful, relentless success.
Absolutely. Congratulations. No, I've actually been just doing a lot of reading to help prepare for our conversation today, and very fascinating book. I've pretty much actually finished it, and I'm very glad because our audience of sales professionals would definitely love the thoughts and the key insights that you shared in Think Big, Act Bigger. And what I'd love to do for us as we organize our talk this morning is, in the beginning, let's sort of look at it as almost like 3 chapters. The first one, we're going to take a look at Jeffrey Hayzlett, the chief sales officer of his businesses and companies, and really kind of try to take some of those insights and share them with our audience of sales professionals, men and women working in several industries, and really trying to keep this economy moving for us. And then we'll take a look at your vantage point as a chief marketing officer for Kodak formerly, and also now, in your own businesses. You interface with a lot of sellers. We want to see what those interactions are like. And then we'll end up with a third chapter on how does a sales professional gain access to the C-suite? What are the good ways of doing it? What are the bad ways of doing it? So we'll go ahead and get started with the first look at, in your day-to-day running of your own businesses, would love to see, Jeffrey, the sales professional, how do you go about selling? And as you do so, I'd love for you to kind of, tell the listeners and the viewers, what's good to do, what's not good to do.
Well, I tell you, the biggest thing is right there in the title of my book. It's called The Rewards of Being Relentless. So many people give up on selling. I sell to the C-suite all the time. Now, I'm a former Fortune 100 C-suite officer myself, but I'm constantly selling to other CEOs, CMOs, CFOs. I'm constantly selling to that C-suite. And one of the things you have to really learn, and I work with lots of different people, is to be relentless, which means, look, these are some of the busiest people in the world, so they're not going to get back to you right away. Not always. And they might not always see the value of what you're trying to sell. So you're going to have to stay with it and get it in front of them when they're ready and be receptive for the message, or create some kind of dissidence inside of them that says they need to act right now. And that's one of the things you have to do. So the first thing I would tell you to do is you're going to have to be relentless, and I'm going to wear you down. I'm going to make it happen in terms of that. That's one. The second is, and this is one of the things I find to be probably one of the most disheartening things that salespeople do, and that is they don't do their homework. They don't spend the time to look up the things. I mean, look, I have a television show.
Yes.
And it's a show that's been on Bloomberg, #1 business show. We now do it. What's called Over the Top, which means it's all online. It's a digital show. Now that show is called the C-Suite. I do another show called Executive Perspectives, but people call me or write to me to ask to be on my show. And they say, I want to be on your show as an expert, guest. And I go, like, you freaking idiot. Have you seen the show? Because if you saw the show, I don't have experts who come on the show, you freaking moron. So if you didn't do your homework and you're trying to see me, now I have another show over here that I might very well have you on, but the C-Suite, no, I'm not going to have you on that because I don't do that show. And so if you'd have watched one freaking show, you would have realized, sorry, you put the quarter in, you get to go for the full ride here, Ash.
Absolutely. No, I love it. I've loved to, your talks. You're really, in your face, and you just say it as it is, and I love that. So that makes a lot of sense.
Well, and you see people make mistakes. Now, even when I was the CMO of Kodak, I had people who came into my office. Now, the logo had changed 2 years prior to me getting there, but yet they would have the old logo and everything that they would use in the presentation. So, and if you're marketing to a chief marketing officer, what do you think that does to your chances of me wanting to do business with you when you don't even use the right logo for me, especially if you're an agency, So those are do your homework and learn to be relentless, And then the third thing I'm gonna say is understand the value. The value of what you're selling and the value of what I need and how that relates. And a lot of people make mistakes, Let me give you a prime example, if I may.
Yes.
People would write to me and say, Jeff, I can help you save thousands of dollars, with this thing. Well, what are you kidding me? I run a $17 billion budget. Thousands of dollars is important. But I'm really looking for millions, if not billions, I need to save in order to be more efficient, because that's what's really going to trip the trigger. And so I write back to the salespeople and say, well, can you do more than thousands? And, they come back and said, yes, we can make that. We can add more zeros, And then I would always ask them, now, okay, great. Now you have my attention. Now tell me the experience that you have in my industry that makes me feel that you can bring forward the solution for it. And typically they can never answer it and would just ignore it. So again, they weren't getting to the value of what I needed. And had they known me or known the industry or spent some more time researching, they would have, pulled that gem out and then offered it back up. And now they've got my attention. It's like saying, hey, I want to come and visit I want to have coffee with you. Come on. I love drinking coffee because Duncan's one of my sponsors, but that's, and I love drinking scotch, by the way, because it was Glenn Piddick is one of my sponsors too. But, but don't just tell me you want to do that. I don't have time for that. And C-suite executives are extremely busy. And I'm not saying they're more busy than anybody else, but they look, you got a lot of overhead sitting in a room with the C-suite. So, you need to make that time useful. So don't tell me you want to drink coffee. I mean, I love that, send me a coupon, but I'd more rather, what is it you want to do? What do you want to get accomplished? Just tell me that. I get it.
Exactly. And I think that maybe resonates also with what you talk about in terms of the conditions of satisfaction, if you can talk to how that relates in that perspective.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the biggest things you can ask for yourselves as a salesperson are what are your personal conditions of satisfaction, and what conditions of satisfaction are you solving for the potential customer that you're talking to. For myself, I have my own conditions of satisfaction, things that drive me. What are my goals that I want to drive? It's like building wealth for me and my family. It's for learning new things and for having fun. Those are my three. And I want to meet those conditions of satisfaction for things I want to do. Like if people say, well, Jeff, come do this TV show or come do this. No, I don't want to do that because it doesn't get to where I want to go. Yes. And so I ask you what, your own internal conditions of satisfaction are, but what are the conditions of satisfaction for the customer? And if you can get to understanding what their conditions of satisfaction are, what is it they're trying to drive? I'm sitting here in a conference room in one of our conference rooms here in New York City. And I remember having a CEO of a company, and I said to them the other day, what is it you want to drive? He says, well, we want to drive, I said, you want fame or you want fortune? because we were talking about a PR company. I'm chairman of a PR company. And he goes, well, we want fortune, but he kept using all these examples of fame. I said, whoa, whoa, whoa. You can't have both. Pick one. Which one is it going to be? Because if you want both, we're going to have to charge you more, which is okay with us. But you said you didn't want to pay for that. You only wanted to pay for this. So again, get back to the real condition of satisfaction. Sometimes you have to ask very probing questions in order to get that. Because if you get to the condition of satisfaction, as I did with the CEO, he said, well, we want fortune. We want to drive more sales. We want to drive real, good margins in the product. I said, well, fabulous. Then let's focus in on those things. He said, well, but I want to be in the Wall Street Journal. Wait. That doesn't relate to being in fortune, having fortune. You really want to be there for fame. And if that's the case, then I need to charge you for that, because we'll go after that too. And so that was a real tough discussion with him in order to get to those conditions of satisfaction. But if you do that, as we just talked about, Ash, you can extract more value back out of the customer, which is real important.
Absolutely. No, that makes a lot of sense to me. And I also know that it looks like embedded in your book, as well as in a lot of what you say, is this whole concept of you have to be hungry. I know you talk about purposeful desperation in one of the chapters, that should really create that hunger for understanding what the customer is looking for, what value they're trying to drive. And I think having that perspective forces you to really leave no stones unturned. Doesn't that make sense?
Yeah, you get to add a lot more on. So by really understanding the customer, by getting to that point and making them really tell you what's important, and then when they start going off this other thing, we'll say, well, that there's more for that. It's like saying you want all these features in the product, but that next feature, you've got good, you got better, and you got best pricing. Gold, silver, bronze, if you want to say. And you're really wanting to say you want all this, you want to pay me the bronze prices, but you want the silver package. Wait, you can't have that unless you pay the silver price. So by understanding those needs, I learned the path for migration to move them to a bigger deal. And I learned, what's of greater value to them. And when I understand the greater value, then I can really start focusing on margins. So I can start building on a business that gives me great margins. And so, and whether you're a marketer, and I'm a marketer, but I'm really a salesperson, a sales pro, and I've ran both, and of course been a CEO, but I'm always about sales, and I'm always about, driving great margins, and the better the margins are, the better for your business.
Absolutely. I know that now in your business, there's quite a bit of services that you're selling, especially the PR agency and other parts of the business. And I know where I come from in high tech, there's a big shift towards services, and a lot of people are having the struggle from moving from sort of the concrete to the invisible, which is services oriented. In your mind, because I know you're doing this on a daily basis, how do you then create that value? Make sure that people look at services from that value perspective.
Well, I always like to describe. It's a great question. I always like to describe things from pain, because if I want to tell you how painful it's going to be if you don't have this service. Okay, yes. I want to describe that because if you understand the pain, then you're going to look for a solution. Let's say we're selling software. Yes. We all understand the value of software. We install it, boom. But do you remember how painful it is to install it? Do you remember how painful it is when your people don't use it? Do you remember how painful it is when it goes down and you're going to need some help? Because all those things are going to happen. Well, we don't think of that when we buy it sometimes. So you have to remind them and paint the picture. And that's a delicate balance, because on the one time you're selling the good stuff of the software, but you also want to sell the pain of the things that they want to go through. And then we're here to eliminate the pain, right? And so that's how I tend to focus on it. So I go, you want to describe the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yes.
Because when you do that, then you're giving a clear picture. And quite frankly, as a sales professional, I'm going to have greater believability from you in understanding that, because as a business CEO, owner, or someone in a decision-making process, I'm a pretty smart guy, or a pretty smart gal. We've been through this before. This isn't our first rodeo, so we tend to understand what those things are.
Yeah, you know what's going to happen once you buy this technology or this product or solution, that you have to make it fit into your organization and end up achieving the outcomes that you're looking for.
Thank you for tuning in to the Top 1% Sellers podcast. Give us your suggestions and guest recommendations by emailing us at ash@connectwithash.com. Thank you also for sharing this podcast with your colleagues and social media contacts. To connect with us on LinkedIn, please send a connect request to ash@connectwithash.com. See you at our next episode. Thanks for tuning in.